Imagine this for a second. You're looking at a company that's pulling in $10 million in sales. I mean, their offices are absolutely buzzing, products are literally flying off the shelves everywhere you look, and thousands of customers are just eager to buy. From the outside, it looks like the ultimate picture of success. But then, out of nowhere, the CEO makes an announcement that just floors everyone, from the newest interns all the way up to the top investors. They say, "We're running out of cash."
Which brings us to a literal million-dollar paradox. How in the world can a business make millions of dollars and still fail? Well, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack one of the absolute most vital, yet somehow deeply misunderstood mysteries in all of business and finance.
So the crucial point is this: revenue is not the same thing as cash. You know, it's so incredibly easy for us to just assume that high sales automatically equal guaranteed success. But as we're going to see throughout this explainer, that exact assumption is what takes down massive, seemingly unstoppable companies every single day.
Layer 1. The profit illusion. Let's peel back the first layer of this mystery.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens behind the scenes. If our imaginary company sells 100,000 units for $100 each, boom, that's $10 million in revenue. Sounds amazing, right? But that massive pile of money doesn't just sit in a vault somewhere. Because once you carve out those huge slices for operational costs, paying for factories, employees, transportation, advertising, rent, electricity, taxes, you are left with just this tiny little sliver labeled profit.
So we're looking at this really stark contrast between the top line, which is that massive $10 million revenue we see on paper, and the bottom line, which is the relatively tiny profit left over after the whole shebang is actually paid for. But here's the real kicker. Even if a company shows a healthy profit on its bottom line, that absolutely does not guarantee they have enough available cash sitting in the bank today. Okay, let's dive into this. Layer 2, the silent killer.
Think about the cash gap. On day one, a business sells $1 million worth of products. Incredible, right? But hold on. The standard industry contract says those customers don't actually have to pay up for another 90 days. So sure, on paper, you've made $1 million, but think about days 1 through 89. Your employees still need their paychecks. The landlord is still knocking on the door for rent. The utility bills keep coming. Your bank account is essentially running on fumes while you anxiously wait for day 90 to arrive. Let's bring this to life with a really simple, practical example from our source material. Say you own a small furniture company. You just landed a massive $100,000 order. Huge win, right? Well, the catch is, the customer promises to pay you in 3 months. But to actually build that furniture, you need to spend $60,000 today on materials and labor. So you pull up your banking app, and you only have $20,000 available. So what happens? Think about the immediate crisis staring you in the face here. You have an incredible $100,000 sale on the books. You might even make a fantastic profit eventually, but right now, at this exact moment, there is literally no way you can fulfill that order because you just don't have the cash to buy the materials.
You are profitable on paper, but completely bankrupt in reality. This specific case study is exactly why managing your cash flow is a way more critical survival skill than just generating impressive sales numbers. I mean, you simply cannot pay your employees or your suppliers with expected revenue.
Layer 3, accelerants of ruin.
Consider this phenomenon, known as the growth trap. Let's say you normally sell 1,000 units a month, with very predictable, manageable expenses. But then, out of nowhere, demand explodes. Suddenly, people want 10,000 units. Now, that sounds like a dream come true, right? But to actually meet that exploding demand, you suddenly need bigger factories, way more inventory, expanded shipping, massive advertising budgets, and a ton of new staff. Yes, your business is growing, but those upfront expenses are actually growing way, way faster than the cash is coming in. Now let's add debt to that equation. Debt isn't inherently a bad thing. Actually, borrowing money acts as a huge opportunity. It helps healthy businesses build those new factories and scale up quickly. But debt is also an obligation. Those repayments are mandatory. If sales suddenly take a nosedive, your debt payments don't go away. They stay exactly the same. And if the business can't generate the cash to meet those obligations, that's when a fatal financial crisis kicks in.
And this right here is exactly why giant companies can sometimes fail even faster than small ones. The immense weight on a massive corporation is just staggering when you really think about it. Thousands of employees, hundreds of suppliers, massive buildings, and huge loans. The larger the machine gets, the more millions of dollars are required every single month just to keep the lights on. A business doesn't survive just because it looks big and powerful on the outside. It survives because its internal financial plumbing actually works. the resolution, the survival system.
So here are the 3 distinct numbers you always need to watch. Number 1 is revenue, simply how much money is coming in from sales. Number 2 is profit, what actually remains after all your expenses are deducted. And number 3 is cash flow, the actual literal cash moving in and out of the bank account. They tell very different stories, you see. Revenue tells you what you sell. Profit shows you if the underlying economics make sense. But cash flow dictates whether you can actually survive to pay the bills tomorrow morning.
The bigger lesson here is that a business isn't just some machine for making sales. It's a highly delicate, interconnected ecosystem. Customers bring in the revenue, operations create the costs, suppliers affect your expenses, debt creates both opportunities and obligations, and cash is the vital lifeblood connecting it all together. If there is an imbalance in just one tiny part of this system, the entire structure can collapse under its own weight.
So, I want to challenge you. The next time you see a headline saying a company made billions of dollars, don't just blindly assume they're incredibly profitable and perfectly safe. Instead, walk yourself through these 3 steps. Step 1, how much did it actually sell? Step 2, how much of that did it keep after expenses? And step 3, which is absolutely the most important, how much actual cash did it have available to operate?
Which brings us to a really powerful takeaway from our source material. Making money is only half the game. Generating revenue is a fantastic achievement, for sure, but it's literally only 50% of the battle. Knowing exactly how to manage that money, when it arrives, and how it flows out, well, that is the other half. Which leaves us with one final provocative question to ponder today. Ask yourself, or the businesses you follow, is the business running on revenue, or is it running on cash? Because at the end of the day, the difference between a wildly successful company and a bankrupt one isn't the number of sales they make, it's their cash flow. Keep that in mind, and I promise you, you'll never look at a multi-million-dollar headline the same way again.